This is the Night Dashor with Justin Bizzarro. I'm Justin Bizzarro. I'm your host. That's Bizzarro. If anyone's out there, you can find us on Instagram at Justin Bizzarro, Bizzarro. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. I appreciate it. We are on episode 2. This is the first one of the series. I do want to have a little talk with everyone. When I started this 9 months ago, at Deborah's suggestion, to go get experience or do this, I needed to do something. I didn't have a lot to do. It provided money, which I love, but she also told me it would be leaps and bounds into things like writing a book or the consulting I was trying to do in restaurants and continue what I had done many years from 2008 to 2017 in the restaurant equipment and design and distribution business and restaurant supplies. So that being said, amongst a lot of other things, and there's a lot of other businesses I've been in. You can check the notes on the episode if you want to see that. You can also check out my LinkedIn. I do have one. It'll give you all the experience in different companies and things I've done there. However, what I never realized was how right she was. And I tend to be stubborn. I come by it honestly. Both my parents are stubborn, so I don't always bite on to the ideas at first. There's a skepticism about me, which isn't good because I don't want to be an antagonist to anyone's story. But I will tell you, when she told me that I would help the delivery business, that ultimately I could help the merchants or I could help the humans fix what was going on, because all of a sudden we're becoming more and more detached from the actual restaurants, from the actual entrepreneurs that run the restaurants or the chains that run the restaurants. I didn't realize what she was really saying or how much of an impact or prophecy or mission purpose she was instilling in me, okay? That being said, this is the first episode of its kind. It's our second episode of the whole podcast or the show. And that being said, we are going to do things which I didn't think I was going to do, but I now have Deborah echoing in my head. And that is for this. It's that I need to try to show what's better, best, and not so good practices in this new food delivery game or delivery game in general. So, again, if you want to know what the Night Dashor is, you can look at the notes. You can look at our code of Chivalry. You can look at what we're trying to do here. Anyone out there, whether you're Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub, Chow Now, Postmates, or any other international company that's delivering food or regional company that's developed your own systems, I recommend that you listen to this. If you're a merchant or you're considering being a food entrepreneur in the food business and getting into the delivery game or into ghost kitchens, it's important that we know this information. So out of the very few listens we've got so far, I did get one question, and I thought it was good. So I'm going to try to look at this and analyze, what is really going on. So I want to just put everyone into perspective here. The delivery business, just in food alone, is growing 300% per year. It is predicted that by 2025, that's 3 years from now, that it'll be a $490 billion business worldwide. Okay? Here's some other interesting statistics for anyone out there. 40% of consumers now who want food or want takeout food or want to go to a restaurant would actually prefer having delivery and eating in their homes in their own comfortable environment without the time needed to go to a restaurant to sit there and wait. It's become about efficiency. It's become about getting things to your home in your comfort zone. Okay? The last thing I'm going to say is 52% of independent restaurants out there and fast food restaurants, I'm going to clump them both together and just give one statistic. If you clump them together, 52% of all food providers are now running ghost concepts or virtual dining concepts for themselves in their own brands or for someone else, like a Mr. Beast Burger or whatever else is out there, like Mariah's Cookies, which is Mariah Carey's cookies, okay? Or Bobby V's Cakes. Okay, those are all virtual dining concepts that other people provide the kitchen for, and they do the delivery and the food for, and it doesn't matter what you are as long as you pass their criteria and you deliver their food, okay? Or have someone deliver their food in this case, okay? It's very interesting because what we're talking about here is we're spending more on our food because it's being delivered. We're spending more on the tip because we're also tipping the drivers okay? But we're not spending the time moving. And here's what else gets interesting, everyone. The average income per household of families getting delivery is $60,000 per year. And usually it's more than one adult in the home with income, okay? So with all these fees going up and all these things happen, it's still a pretty low income rate, even with both parents or both adults in the household working. That's paying a lot of money to service, a lot of money to a driver, and tipping these drivers good money most of the time to do this. We'll talk about tips on a different episode, because that's a whole new thing that's coming, and the drivers are now getting less and less tips, but I'll explain why that's going on, in my opinion anyway, and from what I can tell from facts. So that being said, one of the reasons that I'm doing this is because I'm trying to bring awareness. Like that 32 years old is the median age that's ordering food. Okay, it's not adults, it's not the elderly, it's not the young, it's somewhere around that 32-year-old range. Okay, it's the median. That means that most of these individuals have debt. Most of these individuals are maybe trying to buy homes or trying to start families and trying to save money, but they're spending money on service charge, trying to get their food, trying to get it there hot. And yet we are not adjusting to this. We are not adjusting our menus. We are not adjusting our packaging. We are not adjusting our service to deal with this. And even though there's 52% running ghost concepts and 40% of consumers will rather get take home, we don't understand that there's a difference between Pizza Hut back in the day when they were doing food in their restaurants and Domino's, who's always been built to do delivery. Okay, so one of the things we're going to talk about in a later episode is why not have two menus, one that's in your restaurant and one that is only for delivery. Not a ghost one, not your original restaurant. Change the one that goes out for delivery. Change the one that's on your takeout menu, because that food gets treated differently. Just because they want it and they get it in the restaurant doesn't always mean they should have it delivered. I'm sorry, I get it, but if that's a popular item, you need to figure out how to make it deliverable, and the right packaging and the right setup. Okay, so this is an episode called Delivery Game Matchups. Okay, DGM. So why am I going to do this? Because I feel that if I can point out some things, we may be able to help problems. Okay, this particular delivery game matchup is from my Pennsylvania, Maryland adventures. It is actually Wawa versus Sheetz, or Sheetz versus Wawa. Okay, both are gas stations, both offer food. Sheetz has MTOs. Okay, and what's interesting is, as a driver, my opinion of them now has greatly changed as I've done my research and I continue to do DoorDash and deliver, and I try to take 100% of the orders, guys, unless the app's all messed up or I can't click on the button for some reason, which happens every once in a while. Okay, it's just a part of life. Perfection is not always there, but progress is. So I'm always trying to make progress, learn from the merchants I'm in, but it's not a standard thing. It's not the same over and over again, because every merchant does things differently. Every customer has a different location, or might live in a building or a townhouse or in a community or on a farm, whatever it is, so they're never the same. So the more exposure we get, the better off it's going to be. So one of the things that we're going to do is I'm going to talk about this. I love Sheetz. Okay? When I was in college at Dickinson College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, there were 3 Sheetz within a few miles of campus, and they would get crowded by the students. If we were all at Deli Creation doing that, we were there, okay? And so Sheetz, I'd stop by there on my way out of town. I'd stop by my way in town, and then when they grew into Maryland, I'd make sure I get off in Frederick on my way north, anywhere I was going, whether it was New York City or Virginia or Roanoke when we had a kitchen there, or any of our locations, Brooklyn, New York, I would stop at a Sheetz to get my MTO, made to order is what it stands for, and get my gas and everything else. Okay? Wawa, to me, I didn't think the food was as good, although it was fresher and probably healthier at the time. I liked the fried hot dogs and chili cheese dogs and all that, and even though I was starting to eat healthy in my youth, and as I got into food service partners, I figured out how to eat pretty cleanly, per se, and pretty healthy as much as possible from Sheetz. Okay? And I would avoid Wawa. I mean, I had people that would come around and be like, Wawa this, Wawa that, they're better, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nope, my loyalty is to Sheetz. That's who's done me right. That's who took care of me all those years in college, who's taken care of me. Literally, I've probably been a Sheetz customer for 25 years now. Okay? We're just going to find out if I still am by the end of this episode. Wawa to me was less jazzy. It had less flash than Sheetz. Therefore, for me, like it was just like it's cooler, it's trendier, it's where I like to go. You can order the food off the screen at the gas station, okay? And they have all these bell and whistles and all these shiny things, okay? But now let's enter the delivery game. Okay, I'm going to jump to Wawa. So recently, Wawa onboarded DoorDash and other delivery services. Over the last 2 months, it's been kind of crazy because they're learning as we're learning as delivery drivers and as DoorDash or whatever delivery service it was to onboard them and how to take it. They're having to deal with, well, not everyone realizes that drivers steal food at the beginning, okay? And I will tell you, the worse you treat the drivers, the more likely they're going to steal the food. Okay, I don't know why that is, but it's true because revenge comes in a lot of different forms, right or wrong. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about here is how this all took place. So I'm going to start with Wawa. So Wawa onboarded, it's frustrating for drivers. The wait time's long at the beginning. They're trying to figure out their processes. Orders are getting messed up. Drivers are missing the drinks that go along with the orders because the app usually has a thing that tells you there's drinks with it, but in this case, it's not happening. Okay, so there's mix-up, there's going on. Okay, every time I have a problem or I have a frustration, there is someone in the store in Wawa to handle me, to handle a customer, to fix the orders, to do things properly, okay? And within very little amount of time, Wawa actually almost has a delivery driver to go person that is like the ambassador to the drivers and to the go people. They suddenly take over everything. You go to them, they collect everything together, they tell you the status of everything, and they move things along. While it takes time, I would interestingly say that the whole time their attitude is, we are partners with you. You win, I win. I win, you win. Agreed. In the delivery game, that's what it's about. They treat the drivers as equals, as an equal partnership. I'm going to use the word partner. And they're always fixing things. I messed up my second order there. I didn't realize there were drinks to go along with the order. I went to the customer. The customer's like, I don't have drinks. What do I do? Normally, a driver just like, oh, abandon it, give them a refund. Not me. No way. I'm pausing it. I'm putting my thing on pause. I'm taking a picture of the address. I'm going back to Wawa. I'm going to go fix it. And if I have to buy the drinks to admit I'm wrong because I messed up, I will do that. Most people wouldn't. Okay, they just want them to give a refund and off the hook. It's an honest mistake, at least at the beginning. But no, I went back to the store, Wawa, in our partnership and wanting to also give them new, fresh, frozen drinks and not the ones that had melted that I forgot, remade all the orders. Okay? I've heard about this from other drivers as I've done Wawas all over the place. Every time I walk into a Wawa, regardless of how much wait time I have these ambassadors, and they treat us with such respect as drivers. I was always worried about this, and I will be honest, when Deborah was telling me, I'm like, oh my gosh, my ego, what are people going to think of me as a delivery driver? What am I doing here? And while I'm doing it for consulting and while I'm doing it for a greater purpose, it's still a stepping stone like it is for everyone else. And while I've gained massive knowledge, probably more than any other operator of any other food business out there at this time, okay, because I have all the other 25 years of experience stacked up on it in the food game, not including when I was on the farm doing fruit stands, not including growing up on a farm. But here's the interesting thing about this. Wawa took it seriously, and they adjusted quickly, and they prepared for the incoming stuff. And while they have backups and late at night it gets kind of crazy, they have an ambassador. They also adjusted their packaging. They've also looked at the way they ship their drinks, and they make sure their cup holders will not fall over in the cars or in the vehicles of the drivers most of the time. okay? I will tell most drivers that at most places you go, you need to take the drinks out of the cup holder and put them, or the transportation holder that they give you for free, and put them in your cup holders and then put them back in there when you get delivery, because they will fly all over your car. And we're going to talk about that. One thing also I've started noticing, and it's not all the time, but Wawa is starting to get this down where they separate the cold items from the hot items and don't put them in the same bag. It's like terrible. Why would we put a cold item in the same bag as a hot item? So they've started to separate them. They've also started to make sure that their packaging is better and their sealing's better and the way they deliver the food, and they're using better bags to deliver the food. So now let's talk about Sheetz, my favorite place on the planet that I love getting food from. Let me tell you about my experiences with Sheetz, and it's not just one, and it's a difference either in training or recruiting or the difference, okay? This delivery driver service in a Sheetz and the number I've taken, whether late night or during rush hour, has been very different. The drivers are beneath them, I would say overall. We are there for their benefit. And I didn't witness it happen to other drivers there as well with what's going on, I would have assumed that it's just me because I can rub people the wrong way and I'm impatient and everything else like that. Okay? I will tell you that amongst all of this, there are two Sheetz that I've been to that in particular give the managers, the person running, whatever it is, they have no ambassador for the drivers, obviously. They really look down upon us. We're an inconvenience for them, okay? And I hope that I'm saying this because Sheetz is listening in because they're my favorite place, that they fix these problems. Whatever they're doing with recruiting, whoever they're recruiting, whatever they're training, it's horrendous. I'm a driver already. Okay, we're in a rush. I don't have time to sit there in these two locations and be lectured by what I need to do or what I don't need to do. Okay? And if you're lecturing me about food handling, know your audience. Like, just don't assume that I'm just some other driver or all the drivers are some ill-knowledged or whatever the word would be, unknowledgeable person, human. Okay? I'm going to try not to say men or women. I'm going to try not to refer to anything that would give anyone any bias other than the service and the food and what's going on here and the way they treat their drivers. Okay? The drink holders at Sheetz are horrendous. They don't fit in the holders properly with the drinks that they have. They go flying all over your car. Okay, even if you put them in your cup holders, they bounce all over the place and the liquids spill out, even if they seal the container. Okay, Wawa, literally, they seal the container so well, if it did go flying across your car, nothing would get out of it anyway. I don't know how or why, but there's certain companies that have figured this out. Okay, I will also tell you that the knowledge that is being spilled out of these places or by these individuals over and over again is interesting. I get lectures on food handling. Meanwhile, they don't have a hairnet on. They're wiping their nose. They're doing whatever and touching the food, okay? Well, of course, a driver has to touch the food and the drinks. You're not putting them in a sealed bag like McDonald's. How am I supposed to move it around? I have to take it out of the cup holders because you're putting it in an awkward position. You're also stacking the bags where the food is getting crushed by the drinks that you stuff in the same bag as the hot food. Your containers and the aluminum foil that you're using is not going to hold against a rolling thing of monsters that are in a bag. I'm sorry, but it takes real intent and focus to do the delivery game right, and you shouldn't just let anyone run your business that doesn't know this. You can have 1 million employees in your stores, you can be a franchise, you can be an individual, but if you don't actually have someone that focuses and understands the delivery game and what it takes to treat the drivers, to handle the food, to proper package it, to separate the cold and the hot items in the bag, maybe use 2 bags. Come on, I know it's expensive and you're already spending enough on DoorDash by paying them the service charge or Uber, but come on, you really want to burn your customers and burn the drivers who are using their word of mouth, okay? There's a lot of things, okay? Like if you're going to educate or help the drivers, do it in a way that's not talking down to them. Do it in a way that we are your equals. Why is that important? It's important because we cannot afford, as America, to do this wrong. Why can't we do it wrong? Because we should be a living standard of high-quality food, high-quality service, all the way down to the delivery drivers. And I get it. There's delivery drivers who don't do great, who are still learning, but they're not going to do any better. Okay, I will tell you one more thing that is a game changer for me. Not all the time, but every once in a while, if it's late at night and Wawa has a missed drink or something that's been misordered or the customer cancels an order, they share the wealth with the drivers knowing they're out there. They offer a free coffee every once in a while because they know how tired we are. And one time I've hit the same Wawa 6 or 7 times. They're like, you've been here like for 4 hours, 6 or 7 times. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Just take a coffee. And I get it. They're not supposed to do that. And I'm probably going to get Wawa in trouble. But listen. What I'm saying, it is a difference maker. The merchants that offer the drivers food or caffeine or just the little nice things like a sample or a misordered pizza that they were going to eat anyway, that they've already eaten enough misordered pizzas, it goes a long way. Just a slice. Oh, you've been here 3 times tonight? Here's a slice of pizza from an order we had. You don't have to take it, but drivers are hungry. We're working in the food game. Your normal employees get free food. I'm not saying to give it away just right away. I'm saying have the drivers earn it. You've seen them enough times. It's okay to take care of them. They're going to use word of mouth. So at the end of the day, with the way things have been handled and the constant, I will call them lectures at Sheetz, okay, and the way I've been treated, and I'm trying to get out the door, and so are the other drivers and deliver the food, separating the drinks from the food, separating who you have to talk to, needing to talk to 20 different people, and when you finally get someone and you're already in a rush and trying to deliver customer service to the customer, you don't need someone to tell you what to do. Okay, and don't tell me about handling food when they're all in bags anyway and the drivers have to handle them anyway. And if you don't want us touching the drinks, put them in a bag so we can't touch them, or put them in a cup holder that doesn't make it so they fly all over the car and spill everywhere. Really, the bikers, whoever, if you're a bicycle driver or you're a scooter driver, does not matter. We all suffer the same thing. So at the end of the day, I am no longer a Sheetz customer right now. Personally, no more. I won't get gas there. I won't get food there. I won't get drinks there. I gave them one last chance, and I swear I will continue to do deliveries for them. I will continue to explore and hope they improve, and I will still do right by the customers and right by the merchant. But I will tell you at the end of the day, I know who's a partner and who's going to take care of us and make sure I'm okay, cares about my family, cares about that I'm working maybe for money, or the other drivers who really need money and are working for an income and a living, that they need the money, that this isn't a joke to them. So I think that respect goes a long way. I think that driver service is something that we need to integrate into our nomenclature, or however you say it, for our businesses, especially in food. If you don't have driver service, it's worse than not having customer service, because drivers touch so many businesses and they spread word of mouth with each other, with their families, and with their business. And when someone asks them, well, you deliver, what do you recommend? They are not going to recommend someone that treats them like crap. They aren't going to represent or give a recommendation to someone that they don't like or doesn't do business well. They don't want their name, or their reputation attached to it, just like any other human. I'm not going to recommend a place that I don't think treats people fairly or appropriately or respectfully, no matter who you are. And if it gets to a point that you've made a driver cry, or this young girl cry who's trying to figure things out and getting frustrated, I think you need to relook at how you're treating the drivers, because that shouldn't be happening. They're working hard. They're trying to get money in the door. You have no idea what their circumstances are, just like we don't know the person there. But we're all trying to win and get the delivery game into the best place possible. So if anyone has any comments or concerns or opinions or drivers or whatever, please feel free to reach out to me. I will address them on the podcast. If you want to be on the podcast and talk about a story or do the comparison, or you're in the food delivery game, please reach out to me. Also, you can DM me at Justin Bizzarro. Again, Bizzarro. If you want to find us, we're on Spotify or wherever else you grow yourself through podcasts, and I'm out.